What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of NBA action here on Thursday, February 13th. We're going to break down every NBA game tonight, and we're going to look at a bunch of the biggest NCAA basketball games on the slate. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure to check that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there are any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Wednesday, not looking so hot, guys. Really weird situation here in the NBA with the All-Star break looming. They were so close. We had the Spurs plus 8.5. They could not throw it in the ocean. They end up losing that game by not even way too many. They end up losing by 13. So if they could have made a couple more threes, we could have very easily cashed this pick. We had the Pistons minus 5.5. Another comfortable win for them, taking down the Chicago Bulls by 18. So cash that one for sure. But the Lakers, guys, clearly had their bags packed, ready to head to All-Star break because they absolutely did not show up there against the Utah Jazz. They end up losing that game straight up. We have the Warriors minus 5. Steph is having the worst night, the worst night he's had in a long time, and it looks like Golden State is actually going to lose that game straight up. So a 1-3 day, obviously not what we had in mind. Things do tend to get really weird here towards the All-Star break. So we'll see how things go. We're going to look to bounce back in this one, and we're going to have a bunch of NCAA plays that will also help us with that bounce back. If you want to win all of your bets today, guys, hit that like button. It's good luck, show support for the channel, and if we can get to 1,000 likes, I will be giving away one of these Stump the Spread hoodies to one commenter, one random commenter down there in the comment section. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on 50,000 subscribers, guys. Once we get to 50,000, we'll be giving away a hoodie for that as well. So don't miss out on both of those giveaways, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily content. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you members. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better. All of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NBA, college basketball, UFC, and the NHL. Click the link in the description to head over there and check us out. If you aren't sure if you're looking to sign up for a premium pick package right now, don't worry, guys. Still go over there, sign up for a free account, get on our free email list. You'll get free picks straight to your inbox, as well as updates on how our premium picks have been doing. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today, and we'll give you our best advice on all of them. We're committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Golden State Warriors going on the road to take on the Houston Rockets. So there's some weird stuff going on in the NBA right now, guys. No doubt about that. The Warriors are making a comeback right now against Dallas, so they're going to be playing a maximum effort game and then having to play, tomorrow. So no rest there for the Warriors, and we have the All-Star break. This is the last, day of games before the All-Star break, and every single team on this slate is going to be playing on no rest. They're all going to have played here on Wednesday. They're going to be turning around that quick turnaround and playing on Thursday. So we'll see how everything looks, but these injury reports and everything, it's going to be very weird. So if you're looking for a day to maybe go a little bit lighter on the NBA side and maybe concentrate a little bit more on the college basketball side, this would be a great day to do that. But like I said, the Warriors come into this one fresh off of a very hard-fought game against Dallas. We'll see whether they end up winning or losing that one. It looks like it's going to come down to the wire, so they're making a comeback good for the Warriors. We've seen good stuff here in the new Jimmy Butler era that's looked nice. Golden State, seems like they should be healthy for this game. We'll see if they rest anybody. They have to be kind of in desperation mode right now because the Warriors are fighting for a play-in spot at this point, guys. I mean, they're currently sitting in the 10 seed. They're a game and a half up on Phoenix, but, you don't want to be in the 10 seed, guys. You want to fight your way up and try and get the 6th seed, and they're only 3 or 2.5 games, away from that, spot. So we'll see. They've got a chance to try and fight their way. We'll see what Curry and, Jimmy Butler can end up doing. They're taking on a pretty tough Rockets team that's coming off of it's had a rough stretch here lately. They are coming off a 119-111 win there against the Suns. So good job there by Houston. It hasn't been an easy road for the Rockets as of late. They have won 2 in a row now, but they've had a rough time there without Fred VanVleet. They had dropped 6 games in a row, which is kind of crazy for a team as good as they have been this season. In that win over Phoenix, we saw a triple-double there from Amen Thompson. The kid is looking absolutely insane out there, so expecting big stuff from him. Other than him, though, we liked really what we saw across the board. Tari Eason put up 25 points. Jalen Green put up 22. The bench didn't necessarily look amazing. As a team, they only shot 31% from 3 and still managed to beat the Suns by 8. So there's a lot to like about the Houston Rockets. The starters didn't all play crazy minutes, but, Amen Thompson did play 41. He's got young legs, but are they young enough that you can just shrug that off on back-to-back nights? That seems like a bit of a big ask to me. We'll see what happens, guys. The Rockets do come into this game as 1.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 220.5. The Warriors 13-11-1 against spread on the road, 3-6 against spread on no rest. Houston 12-13 against spread at home, 4-6-1 against the spread on no rest. So, guys, I'm actually leaning here a bit towards the Warriors. It kind of depends on the outcome of this current game. So, gonna have to wait and see. Obviously, this would be something that isn't going to be in the pinned comment. We may actually put 0 NBA games in the pinned comment initially and wait to add them in until tomorrow afternoon. So unfortunately, you'll have to come back and see, but I don't want to be steering anybody wrong on these games that could change at the drop of a hat with, different guys sitting out here, and, we've got the All-Star break looming, so there can be weird incentives to play or not play right now. So we'll see how that goes, guys, but we are definitely leaning towards the Warriors in this game if they end up losing to Dallas. We might be leaning towards the Warriors anyway, but I would tend to think we're leaning towards the Rockets if we see the Warriors eventually win this game. So we'll see. Definitely got to check back on that pinned comment for this one and for all of our NBA plays today with so much uncertainty out there on the injury reports. And speaking of uncertainty on the injury reports, guys, our next game, we are looking at the Sacramento Kings going on the road here to take on the New Orleans Pelicans. The Kings come into this game fresh off another win. They've actually won 3 in a row now. So things turning around. They just picked up Markelle Fultz, so that could be an interesting addition. But really, a lot of positives to take away from the Kings right now. I mean, they're playing great, winning 3 in a row. I mean, beating the Pelicans, Mavs, and Pelicans, 2 wins there against the Pelicans. Really, let's not alert the, press here. And in this game, they did give up 33 points to Zion, who's been playing amazing. But this Pelicans team sucks, guys. So we'll see what the Kings can do. They shot 35% from 3 in the game. That looks good. DeRozan shrugging off, a tough couple days here for the Kings. He put up a massive performance just the other day, and he's, putting in the work. He's doing pretty well out there. So love what we're seeing from DeRozan. The Levine addition is looking pretty good as well. So just a lot of positives right here for the Kings. I mean, they just continue to put up good numbers. They shot 35% from 3. That's going to work. Keon Ellis had a monster night, maybe a career night actually, a plus 11, 27 points from him. So just a lot of positives there for the Kings. Now, how will they be able to do in this one? Well, guys, they are playing the New Orleans Pelicans again, so I would say they've got a pretty good chance to put up a decent night. I mean, this is going to be their 3rd game and 4 tries there against the Pelicans, so could be kind of tough to beat the same team that many times, but they're going to give it a shot. The Kings injury report obviously not fully updated right now since this is a back-to-back night situation, but I have no reason to think any of their starters are going to be sitting this game out. So we'll see how things go in this one. Obviously, the Pelicans come into this game fresh off another loss. Zion coming off another monster performance in a losing effort. Trey Murphy finally has an off shooting night, and we saw the Pelicans shoot only 25% from 3 in this game. Not the norm. They are usually a good bit better than that, but they struggled on the boards in this matchup once again. We saw TJ McCollum come back, look a little bit rusty. He was a minus 23 out there, had a couple turnovers. No, other stats, 0-5 from 3, so just not a very good night out there in general for New Orleans. So we'll see what they can do at home in this one. The injury report looks pretty clean. Will we for sure see Zion out there on back-to-back nights? That is definitely not for sure situation. So gonna have to check back on the pin comment for this one as well, guys. The Pelicans getting 6.5 points at home. We've got a total of 237.5. Sacramento 11-15-1 against spread on the road. They are 3-7 against spread on no rest. The Pelicans 13-13-1 against spread at home. They are 4-7 against the spread on no rest. So really, guys, this is a pretty big motivation spot for the Kings. They're right now in the 8th seed, holding tough there. New Orleans, no real incentive to be winning games. They are a very, very paltry 12-42 on the season. So I'm going to be leaning here a bit towards the Sacramento Kings, despite this being on no rest. We're going to need to see them be healthy for this game. I don't expect the Pelicans to have any sort of magic elixir. Like maybe CJ McCollum plays way better, and that could be their avenue back in, to maybe have a chance in this game. But I don't really see it, guys. Give me the Sacramento Kings on the road in this one. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Miami Heat going on the road to take on the Dallas Mavericks. The Heat have now dropped 3 in a row, but they kept that game relatively competitive there at the Thunder. They did eventually lose 115-101, so not great. Bam played a really good game. We definitely saw some positives there from Miami. This is the Miami team that I think could have made things competitive there against Boston, but not having Tyler Hero in that Boston game was a real punch in the gut. But Bam had a massive night. Hero only 14 points. He didn't play great, but a couple double-digit scores there off the bench. The Heat shot 32.4% from 3. They did some good things in this game, showed that they're capable of, keeping things competitive, but they then got outscored 32-8 in the fourth quarter. So that's kind of what you can have. You can have that happen there for the Miami Heat. It's not going to be an easy season for them. They've got a tough squad. I mean, Wiggins is going to play better than he has been playing, since being brought over here. Bam's not always going to be putting up 27 and 15 though. So yeah, it's a little bit tough to figure out what you're going to get overall from the Miami Heat, but they're a tough squad. They're not going to just lay down and let teams beat them. We do see some guys on the injury report. Duncan Robinson on there, Terry Rozier on there as well. Duncan Robinson dealing with an illness. I do kind of expect him to be back back for the second half of this back-to-back. Terry Rozier dealing with that same illness. On the same side of the coin, guys, I expect him to play in this game as well. So there'll be a couple guys that are fresh for the Miami Heat here as they go on the road to take on the Dallas Mavericks, who are locked in a dogfight there with the Warriors. They're currently up by 2 with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So we'll see if they can hold on in that one. They haven't been having a great time lately, and with no Anthony Davis, obviously no Luka now, like things are not looking like all sunshine and rainbows there for the Mavs. They've gotten a pretty amazing game from Kyrie Irving. He's played 38 insanely high-intensity minutes. I do not think we can expect him to, even for sure play in this game. And if he does play, like, do we expect real, great shooting, great creation from him? I mean, that is a huge, huge ask, especially against a Heat team that's going to at least try hard on defense, if not have a massive amount of defensive talent. So we'll see what happens, for the Mavs in their game against the Warriors. It does not look like they're going to be anywhere close to healthy, though. We know, like, Anthony Davis, Daniel Gafford, probably P.J. Washington, all going to be out for this game. Dante Exum probably out as well. P.J. Washington, guys, he didn't play against the Warriors. I guess there's a chance he comes back for this game, but I would think there would be a pretty good chance also that they'll just go ahead and keep him out until after the All-Star break. So we'll see if that happens. The Mavs are getting 2 points in this game. We've got a total of 221. Miami 10-17-1 against the spread on the road, but 5-4 against the spread on no rest. Dallas 15-11 against spread at home, 6-3 against the spread on no rest, but those numbers were mostly acquired with a mostly different looking team. They're not going to have any answers really out there for Bam, who is coming off of a max effort game, so maybe he won't have the easiest time, but I'm definitely taking the Miami Heat at -2 in this spot. This is one that we could actually put in the pinned comment in theory, even before we see the official injury reports here for the Mavs, because Kyrie is just going to be completely gassed coming off of this game, and whether they win or lose, I think this is a tough spot for the Mavs here on this back-to-back. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up for StompTheSpread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our top confidence plays on all the major sports. We're currently covering NCAA basketball, the NBA, NHL, UFC, and the NFL. We have a team of professional cappers that work extremely hard putting in the research on these games every day so you don't have to. We make things very easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list, get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just click the link in the description to sign up for a free account. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now, guys, back to the games. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder going on the road to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Thunder come into this game fresh off that 14-point win there against the Heat. They've now won, up to 6 in a row, 7 in a row now. Yeah, that win against the Heat was kind of a weird one, but yeah, they took care of business there in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Heat 32-8. SGA put up 32 points. He's just killing it out there every single night. You can just basically pencil him in for 30. Liked what we saw from Dort. He played really well in the game. 18 from Jalen Williams. He played pretty great. Hartenstein, not putting up a ton of points, but 8 points, 8 rebounds, a couple of blocks, a couple steals. Like, he did what he was supposed to do, and yeah, just in general, loving what we're seeing from this team. Like, Heinrich Williams playing great off the bench, Isaiah Joe playing great off the bench, just shot almost 40% from 3. They did a good job on the boards. Like, really not a lot of notes there for me about the Oklahoma City Thunder. They just continue to play great on a nightly basis. That's just what they do. They line it up and they play amazing. So we'll see who they have available for this game. I would expect everybody that played there last night to pretty much be available. Chet Holmgren did not play. He was out for rest, so he'll be fresh and ready to go for this one. Alex Caruso, he didn't play had left hip tightness, took him out of that game against the Heat. So we'll see if he comes back for this one. Kind of seems like a long shot to me. Carson Wallace with that shoulder issue has been ruled out for that. He did not play against the Heat, so there's a chance he comes back for this one. So, I mean, he doesn't really move the needle that much for me in this specific game. So we'll see what the Thunder can do in this one as they continue to just look like the best team in the West as they go on the road here to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves, who just lost 103-101 there to the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis and without Lillard. That's embarrassing, guys. They gave up 19 points, 13 boards to Kyle Kuzma. Gary Trent Jr. put up 21 against them. Anthony Edwards did have 28 points, but it's in a loss. 22 points there from Naz Reid, only 1 of 7 from 3. Minnesota shot 10 of 44 from 3-point range in this game. Like, a very, very pedestrian performance, guys. 20 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists there for Rudy Gobert in a losing effort. The bench just did not look very good, and we saw a pretty good shooting night there from the Milwaukee Bucks. All these, side piece players, they played really, really well. 21 points off the pine there for Gary Trent. 19 points in the starting lineup for Kuzma. Taurean Prince, 11. They did all this, despite, a bad day from Bobby Portis and their 2 best players sitting out. So, Timberwolves have to be kind of in shambles. We see Mike Conley and Julius Randle there on the injury report. Neither one of those guys moved the needle for me too much for this team. Mike Conley, maybe a little bit. It seems like there's a theoretical chance he could be back for this game, so we'll see if that happens. But right now, guys, things are looking pretty bleak for the Timberwolves, who are getting 6 points in this game. We've got a total of 222. The Thunder, 13-9-2 against spread on the road, 6-4 against spread on no rest. Minnesota, 8-19-1 against spread at home. That's an NBA worst against the spread at home mark. They are 4-4 against spread on no rest themselves. Guys, give me the Thunder here at -6. I don't think this team is, I think they're too good to take their foot off the gas enough that the Timberwolves can keep this thing to single digits. I think Oklahoma City's backups will have a pretty good time out there. I think we'll see Dort and all the other great perimeter defenders just absolutely torturing Anthony Edwards out there, making life really, really rough on him. So give me the Thunder here at -6. If Anthony Edwards doesn't go off for 30 plus, the Timberwolves don't have a chance against any team, much less against the best team in the NBA. Next up, guys, we are looking at the LA Clippers going on the road to take on the Utah Jazz. The Clippers come into this game. Well, they're actually playing right now, guys. They're going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're currently up by 18. Looks like Memphis absolutely running out of gas in that game, which is pretty disappointing. They got off to a good start, but we also had to deal with the late scratch there of Ja Morant. So we'll see what the Clippers can get done in this game if they can finish things off strong. It's still only halfway through the third quarter, so really anything could theoretically still happen. The Clippers, I don't know. They came out of the gate pretty slow. This is a team full of veterans, so maybe they're a little bit looking forward to just, getting out there on the All-Star break. We'll see what goes on with them in this game. Obviously, that's a big concern here. The last game before the All-Star break, we're seeing pretty good stuff there from Kawhi. He put up 21 so far. Powell and Harden both playing all right out there. Looks like they're playing, pretty significant minutes loads. Not like a crazy amount of minutes, but enough that you're at least a little bit worried. So looking at, their future, anticipating their injury report here, it's a little bit unclear what we're actually going to see down the stretch because, it's going to be a little bit tough potentially. We'll see if, they play guys like Harden, they play guys like Kawhi. I mean, Kawhi we know won't play on back-to-back nights. That's a certainty. So we'll see what goes on there, but I'm not expecting the Clippers to be at full strength here, but they might not need to be as they're going on the road to take on the Utah Jazz, who are fresh off a crazy 131-119 win there against a Lakers team that clearly already had their bags packed for the All-Star break. We'll see if that comes into play in this one also. The Jazz, in that game, a 131-119 win. We saw Markkanen go off for 32 points. When the dude actually gets the ball in his hands, good things tend to happen. We liked what we saw also there from Jordan Clarkson. Him being in the starting lineup posted a plus 33, 20 points off the bench there for Keontae George. And the Lakers just were not ready for this game or something. Like Luka played and he looked pretty pedestrian. LeBron played, he looked pretty pedestrian. Like this is a team that was clearly ready for the break, which it's a little bit weird, Luka needing rest from all of his rest, but what are you going to do? The Jazz come into this game with not, a very clear injury report as of yet. We'll see who actually ends up playing, who ends up sitting, but there's no reason to necessarily expect them to sit a bunch of guys. So this is kind of a wait and see situation for who's actually going to be out there for the Jazz. And Utah's getting 7.5 points in this game. We've got a total of 225.5. The Clippers, 12-12 against spread on the road, 4-6 against spread on no rest. Utah, 11-12 against spread at home. They are 2-6 against spread on no rest. So, guys, this is a really tough one to call. We have to wait and see that Clippers injury report and kind of the Jazz injury report as well. So, this is going to be a wait and see spot, but make sure you're checking back on that pinned comment. We could be adding in a bunch of NBA picks or maybe adding in some new college ones. We will just have to wait and see because there is a crazy amount of uncertainty out there in the NBA. But now, guys, we're going to go ahead and switch gears here. We're going to head over and look at this college basketball slate. And it's an interesting one. We don't have that many huge name teams out there, but we've got some. And we've got a bunch of, I think, very, very reasonable plays out there. And first up, we are going to be looking at Mercyhurst, guys. They are going on the road in this one to take on the Central Connecticut Blue Devils in an NEC showdown. So we'll see how things go here for Mercyhurst. They are 13-14 on the season. They're playing pretty well, though. They've actually won, 5 out of their last 6 now. Probably the best win in that stretch would maybe be taking down Long Island. So yeah, they don't have a bunch of stellar wins over this stretch, but they are 7-5 in conference play. They've done some positive things. In their last game, it was a 4-point win against Lemoyne, which, Lemoyne, guys, they're the worst team in the NEC, so they're going to have to step it up a little bit. They come into this game, they're a pretty bad offensive team. Guys, 67th is averaging 67.2 points per game. That's 368th in the nation. They're one of the worst rebounding teams in the entire nation. So yeah, not a whole lot of things pointed in the the Mercyhurst Lakers direction right now. We'll see how things go. They do have a decent leading scorer in Jeff Palantis, but I'm not really super sold on this team at the moment. So we'll see what they can get done here as they go on the road to take on Central Connecticut, looking like the best team in the in the conference so far, guys. I mean, they're 8-2 in conference play. They are, I guess, tied in terms of wins there with Long Island University, but we'll see how they do down the stretch. It's been looking pretty good recently. They knocked off Long Island convincingly, and they've been cruising ever since. A nice win against Stonehill and a blowout win there against Fair Dickinson. So now they're taking on Mercyhurst, guys. This isn't a team that really runs through one individual player. I mean, Jordan Jones does lead the way for them with 13.3 points per game, but they're not necessarily a monster offensive team, but they are a great defensive team, and they've been finding their shot lately. I mean, putting up a ton of offense there against against Fair Dickinson. Very good stuff there. But we liked what we saw from Devin Hade. 25 points from him. We saw the Blue Devils shoot 36.4% from three, and they dominated the boards in this game. So we're kind of expecting them to dominate the boards once again in this one. They're 12.5 point favorites, so the odds makers are expecting that as well. We've got a total of 131.5. Mercyhurst 8-7-1 against spread on the road, 13-11 to the over. Yeah, Central Connecticut, not very similar, guys. They're 5-2 against spread at home. They are 13-8 to the under. Guys, I'm going to be taking Central Connecticut to get the blowout winning cover in this one. I just do not think there's any way they're going to let Mercyhurst keep things even slightly competitive in this game. The Central Connecticut Blue Devils have been rolling. This has a play that is actually, possibly going in the pin common here. We'll see if that happens, but I'm really liking what we're seeing from Central Connecticut right now. Next up, guys, we got the Marshall Thundering Herd going on the road to take on the South Alabama Jaguars in a Sun Belt showdown. Marshall comes into this game playing pretty well, guys, fresh off a big win there over Arkansas State. They won that game 77-72, so a very nice win out there for the Thundering Herd. They'll definitely take that one. We loved what we saw just kind of across the board. I mean, they had 4 starters scoring double figures, so that's a pretty big deal. A double-digit score off the bench as well. They shot 30% from 3, which isn't terrible, and they had a rebounding edge, which is very nice. They did have 12 turnovers in the game, but they also forced 12, so really not a lot of negatives there for Marshall. And, we've seen the Thundering Herd do some good stuff this season. They're 8-4 in conference play. Not on the same level there as Arkansas State, generally speaking, but we'll see, what they can do. I mean, they're coming off a win against Arkansas State, so, they've got a chance here. Clearly, they can beat anyone in the conference, so we'll see what they can do in this game. They don't have a huge leading scorer. I mean, their defense could use some work, and they're a middle-of-the-road rebounding team, so they could have their work cut out for them, and they're in a big letdown spot as they go on the road to take on the South Alabama Jaguars, who are 16-9 on the season. They are also 8-4 in conference play. They're fresh off of a tough loss there at Akron, guys. Obviously, Akron, that game against Akron, not a conference game at all, but yeah, you still want to do well in those non-conference games, and they could not keep up with the insane pace there of Akron. But they don't have to worry about that in this game. Their last conference game was an 84-59 blowout there against Coastal Carolina, so they'll definitely take that. They haven't played Marshall yet this season, so definitely, going to be interesting here to see what they can get done. They're a decent rebounding team, not necessarily a great offensive team, but their defense is elite. They come into this game, 4.5 point favorites. We've got a total of 137.5. Marshall 4-5-1 against spread on the road, but 14-9 to the under. South Alabama 5-7 against spread at home, 14-7-2 to the under. Guys, I'm just going to go ahead and take the under in this one. Give me under 137.5. It's not a huge number, but neither offense is really that crazy. Both teams can play some defense. The rebounding isn't going to be that big of a concern in this situation. I think this is just a good spot to roll with the under. If you're begging me for a play on the side, I guess give me South Alabama minus 4.5, but really, guys, the under is the play for me. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Omaha Mavericks going on the road to take on the South Dakota State Jackrabbits out there in the Summit Conference. Omaha comes into this game fresh off a 3rd straight win. They took down North Dakota State 85-74. A very nice win in that one. A good showing there against a very good team. Omaha shot 53.6% from 3 in the win. That is crazy stuff. They had a couple guys, eclipse the 20-point mark there. 17 points off the bench from Jashawn Glover. He played really well. They, rebounded the ball well. Not something that always happens for them. They didn't play very good defense. They got a huge edge there at the free throw line, though. Something they might not be able to count on here as they go on the road in this game. So we'll see what happens. Markel Sutton is a monster, 17.8 points per game. No doubt about that. The dude is a monster. But this team is normally very poor there on defense, guys. They're going to have 74.6 points per game defensively. The rebounding numbers are also pretty suspect. So I do have some concerns here about Omaha. I mean, they do come into this game playing great. Don't get me wrong. we'll see what they can do here against the South Dakota State team that they've beaten already once this year. But the Jackrabbits are 16-9 overall this season. They're currently sitting in third place in the conference. They're fresh off a win against St. Thomas, Minnesota, which not exactly a premium, not exactly a terrible win either, though. St. Thomas, Minnesota, 9-2 in conference play. So the Jackrabbits playing really, really well. Their offensive numbers are fantastic. They're a team that can destroy opponents on the boards. Their defense also not incredible, but it's much better when you look at what their pace of play is and stuff like that. They've got a monster leading scorer in Oscar Clough. He's putting up 17 points per game, nearly 3 assists per game, and he's shooting 65% from the field. Crazy, crazy stuff. In that win against St. Thomas, Minnesota, we saw, just good stuff across the board, honestly. They shot 31.8% from three, or they allowed their opponent to shoot 31.8% from three. They shot 52.6% from three. They did a good job on the boards, dominated the boards. Honestly, that was the reason they won this game, and we kind of expect them to do the same thing in this one, guys. South Dakota State, 9.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 152.5. Omaha, 11-2 against the spread on the road, though, 13-11 to the over. San Diego State, 6-3 against the spread at home. They are 12-11 to the under. Guys, this is just too many points here for Omaha. They're an amazing team against the spread on the road, one of the best in the nation. Give me the Omaha Mavericks here, getting 9.5 points. This has a very good chance to end up in the pinned comment. Both teams are in a huge letdown spot after shooting the lights out against very good opponents. So you can maybe even talk me into the under in this game just on the idea that neither team can possibly shoot the ball as well as they shot their last time out. But really, I think the value play in this one is taking Omaha and the points in a game I expect to be very close. Next up, guys, we've got another deep cut, but don't worry, the hits are coming pretty quick here. We've got the Stetson Hatters going on the road to take on the Lipscomb Bisons. Stetson comes into this game 7-18 on the season, straight up not having a good time out there in the A-Sun, guys. It's been pretty brutal. They've lost their last 4 in a row. They just got blown away by Eastern Kentucky. They do have a good leading scorer there in Ellison, but he's just not enough to carry them to wins. Their rebounding is so bad. Their defense is so bad that this is a team that really just straight up has they have a rough time out there, guys. There's no way around it. Like, this is not a team that you can really expect to have a ton of success, and they have certainly not had a ton of success this season. So we'll see what they can do in this one, going on the road to take on a Lipscomb Bisons team that's 17-8 on the season. They're currently tied with North Alabama. They're atop the A-Sun. They've done some great stuff this year. They've won 3 in a row. They're coming off a 13-point win there against Queens, so that's a pretty good look. And yeah, this team has a monster leading scorer. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. I can't remember how you pronounce it off the top of my head, but he's put up 19.3 points per game, shooting almost 60% from the field. They're very good offensively. They play great defense, giving up only 67.5 points per game. That's crazy work. Their ball movement, their offense in general is just excellent. So loving what we're seeing here from Lipscomb coming into this game, but so do the odds makers. They have the Bisons as 17.5-point favorites. We've got a total here of 146.5. Stetson, 7-4 against the spread on the road. They are 13-11 to the over. Lipscomb only 4-5 against the spread at home and 15-8 to the under. So with a team that has a lot of games that go under, that makes me really want to lean here towards the Stetson and the points. It doesn't feel great. Obviously, we're taking a terrible team here to keep things close against a pretty good team, but I think that could definitely happen in this game. I mean, looking at their future schedule here, we've got let's see. Lipscomb's about to take on Florida Gulf Coast. That can be a bit of a tough game, so it's something of a look ahead spot there. And Stetson, they're about to take on Austin Peay, a team that's right next to them in the standings. So not a big look ahead spot there. So yeah, definitely give me Stetson and the points in this one. It doesn't feel amazing, but I think it's a very good value spot. And it's always good to be on these big underdogs, guys, because the public money tends to come in on the favorites. Now, guys, finally looking at some power conference action. We're out there in the Big Ten looking at the number 25 Maryland Terrapins going on the road to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Maryland comes in this game fresh off a nice 90-81 win there against Rutgers. They've actually won 5 out of their last 6, with their only loss being a 3-point heartbreaker loss there at Ohio State. They've knocked off Wisconsin and Illinois during that stretch, and they've really just been a very, very tough team this season in general. They're 8-5 out there in the Big Ten, so not up there in the upper echelon with teams like Michigan State, Purdue, and Michigan, but they're doing a lot to keep themselves relevant. Definitely looking like a major tournament team. We're loving what we're seeing from Derek Queen this season. This is a good rebounding team. They play amazing defense, giving up 66.5 points per game, and they're 21st in the nation, scoring 82.8 points per game. This is a dominant team, guys. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Queens coming off a 29-point game. We saw Maryland shoot almost 40% from 3 their last time out. They shot a lot of free throws in that game, too. They did have a little bit of a rebounding deficit. We have to, at least mention that. that, but really like what we've seen from Maryland here recently. But they're not getting a cupcake game here. They're going on the road, which is difficult in the Big Ten, to take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who are 16-8 on the season, and they've won 4 in a row in conference play. They just knocked off Ohio State 79-71. A very impressive win, which might leave them in a bit of a letdown spot. We'll have to see about that. I mean, wins over Illinois, Oregon, and Washington also look pretty good. Bryce Williams is certainly a monster. 19.4 points per game, shooting nearly 50% from the field. Very difficult to achieve. In that game against Ohio State, guys, he put up 24 points, played great. We loved what we saw from the Cornhuskers. They did struggle to defend the three-point line in that game, and they crushed on the glass, and that's a huge deal. So we'll see if Nebraska can kind of replicate that here. This is a coin flip game, guys. Nebraska 1-point favorites. We've got a total of 147.5. Maryland only 2-5 against spread on the road. They are 15-9 to the over. Nebraska 6-6 against spread at home and 12-12 to the over/under. This is a tough spot, guys. It's pretty brutal, to be honest, but I do think we're going to see Maryland take care of business here on the road. They did beat Nebraska by only 3 points the last time these two teams played, so we'll see. This isn't a game that's going in the pin comment, unfortunately, but I think it's a very interesting one to watch. And if you really want to bet this game, guys, just throw a little bit on the over if you're not sure on the side, like I'm not sure on the side. I think over 147.5, very live in this game. Both teams like to get up and down. Both teams can play some defense, so that makes it a little bit tougher, but I think we'll see plenty of free throws shot in this game, and Nebraska at home is going to make some shots. So yeah, you could talk me into either side on this one, but I definitely think the over is a good play. Next up, we're looking at another ranked team, guys. We got number 14 Memphis going on the road to take on South Florida. Memphis comes into this game 20-14 on the season. They've won their last 7 in a row. They just knocked off Temple 90-82. They've been cruising out there. A big blowout win against UAB relatively recently, and getting that win against Temple, a nice revenge game after losing to Temple early in the year. Memphis, they are 10-1 in conference play out there in the American. That puts them in the top spot there. A couple games up on North Texas, and yeah, just loving what we're seeing from PJ Haggerty. 22 points almost per game, almost 4 assists per game, and he's shooting over 50% from the field. Like, bro is absolutely killing it. This Memphis team, they are legit, guys. They're looking more legit than I expected. I was kind of a doubter. I've faded them a couple times. I faded them against UAB, and it burned me. So will we be fading them once again? Well, they are going on the road here. Not always the easiest thing to do. They're taking on the South Florida Bulls. Not the toughest opponent. They're 5-6 there in conference play in the American. They're 12-12 on the season. They're fresh off a tough 5-point loss there against Wichita State, which not a team you're supposed to be losing to necessarily, although Wichita State not terrible. They do have a nice win against Temple there. They beat Rice. They did lose to UAB though. They barely beat Tulsa. Like, this team doesn't have a ton of firepower on the roster. Like, no big time leading scorer. They're a really weak rebounding team. Their defense is pretty bad. So yeah, not loving what we're seeing from the Bulls here, and there's a reason they're getting 7.5 points at home. We've got a total of 151.5. Memphis 4-4 against spread on the road, 13-11 to the over. USF 4-7 against spread at home, 14-9 to the under. So gotta at least take a peek here at the look ahead spots, guys. South Florida has UAB on deck, and we see Memphis has Wichita State on deck. So more of a look ahead spot for South Florida, if anything. I'm going to be leaning here towards the Memphis Tigers to get at least an 8-point win in this game. They've just been such a good team. They don't have a look-ahead spot to worry about here, and I think they just go out and dominate against a team that, isn't very good defensively and also isn't very good on the board. So I think that all adds up to a nice, comfortable Memphis road win. Rounding into the home stretch here, guys, we are going to be looking at the Florida International Panthers. They are going on the road in this one to take on the UTEP Miners. Florida International, guys, they come into this game, 8-16 on the season, so not having a great time. Fresh off a 11-point loss there against Louisiana Tech. Now they got to go on the road to take on UTEP, a team they already lost to by, 8 points already this season. This team, guys, the Panthers, not very good. There's just no way to sugarcoat it. They're terrible defensively. Their rebounding numbers are bad, and they're not very good offensively either. So there's just not a lot of positives to find for them. I mean, they're one of the worst teams out there in the Conference USA, and they're going up against a team that's been a kind of tough out for everybody in the Conference USA in the UTEP Miners. They are 6-4 in conference play. They are 16-7 overall. They're fresh off a nice road win there at New Mexico State. So yeah, maybe not the toughest opponent, but going on the road and getting a conference win, never the easiest thing. So we'll see what they're able to do in this one as they try and run it back. I mean, in that win, guys, we saw Barnes have 18 points, so that's a pretty good look. And Otis Frazier actually leads this team in scoring, so it's nice to have somebody else that's capable of stepping up. The problem for UTEP is they are terrible on the boards, guys. 445th in the nation in rebounding. That's That's pretty crazy. You don't see something that bad that often. So not loving that. And looking at the numbers here, UTEP 9.5-point favorites. That's a big number. We've got a total of 142.5. Florida International is actually 6-3 against spread on the road, 12-11 to the under. UTEP 3-5-1 against spread at home, 11-8-1 to the over. So yeah, kind of a weird spot. I mean, UTEP, they've got Liberty on deck, so that's kind of a big game for them. Florida International, I don't really know what qualifies as a big game for them, and they have, New Mexico State on deck. So a little bit of a look-ahead spot there for the UTEP Miners. I feel like this is a sneaky spot. You could actually talk me into Florida International getting those 9.5 points. I don't believe this is a play that's going to go in the pinned comment, but I think Florida International can at least keep things kind of close here against a UTEP team that's not really going to be blowing out a ton of opponents like their last game. Not a blowout. The game for that, certainly not a blowout. So yeah, we'll see. I do expect this game to be pretty close the vast majority of the time. Last but not least, guys, we have the nightcap. We've got San Francisco going on the road to take on Gonzaga. This game is going to be on ESPN, so very, very easy to watch out there if you're trying to. San Francisco, they're second in the WCC right now. They're 20-6 on the season. They are 10-3 in conference play, but Gonzaga is right there lurking. They already have a tough loss against St. Mary's here. They beat St. Mary's their last time out, though, so that was pretty impressive. And their very last game was a road win at LMU. So we do see, the Dons are playing pretty freaking well. I mean, Malik Thomas, an absolutely elite scorer, guys. Almost 20 points per game, shooting 47% from the field. This team can definitely fill it up. Like, they can score. 75.5 points per game doesn't look insane, but it's been very, very serviceable. They're also a good defensive team, giving up 66 per game. And while the rebound numbers don't necessarily wow me, they do have some firepower out there. So we'll see what they can do. This is the first time they're taking on Gonzaga this season, and there could be some fireworks here. I mean, the Bulldogs 18-7 on the year. They're having a big down season. They've already lost 3 conference games. Not something you usually see from the Bulldogs. They lost to St. Mary's, they lost to Oregon State, and to Santa Clara. They're fresh off a 78-61 win against Pacific, which Pacific, one of the worst teams in the conference. So I'm not going to freak out about that. We like what we see from Ryan Nembhard, almost 10 assists per game. Graham Ike, 17 points per game, shooting a very high percentage. Gonzaga's second in the nation, scoring 87.2 points per game. Cool. 34th in the nation in rebounding. Cool. But all of that has not consistently led to success for them this season. So we'll see what we get out of Gonzaga here. Not a team that I have, a ton of faith in this year. They did some good things in their non-conference, but some bad things. And then in conference play, the wheels have kind of come off. So looking at the numbers, Gonzaga 14.5-point favorites at home. We got a total of 153.5. San Francisco only 2-4-1 against spread on the road. They're 13-11-1 to the under. Gonzaga 4-8 against the spread at home. They are 15-10 to the over. Guys, give me San Francisco getting 14.5 points. It's just too many points. We just have to go with this one. I don't know if it's going to go in the pinned comment. Sometimes having these late games in there can be a little bit tilting because it's the very end of the night and you have to wait so late to find out. But that's not a great reason to keep it out. That's just why I would keep it out of the pinned comment here. I wouldn't keep it out of being possibly a premium pick at stumpthespread.com, for instance. But we'll see which way we end up going with that in terms of it being a premium pick, but it definitely has a chance to end up in the pinned comment. I think there's plenty of value to be had there on the San Francisco Dons getting that many points against a Gonzaga team that's been all over the place this season. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and to help us get to that 1,000 likes so we can finally give away one of these hoodies. I thought it would only take us a couple days to get to 1,000 likes on a video once we were doing this giveaway. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, help us get to 50,000 subscribers. We're closing in. We'll be giving away a hoodie for that as well. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to get over to stumpthespread.com and get on that free email list. Check out our premium picks if you're interested, and we will see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.